Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. So, it finally happened. Yeah, stuck my head out, saw snow, and that means there'll be 6 more months of shop projects. All groundhog references aside, coming off a summer break, so we got our batteries recharged and we're ready to go on 11/13 again. We'll be back here in the shop now probably until next April or May again, and we'll be transitioning back outside to the outdoor oriented projects. And speaking of next spring, I've got another old worn out crawler tractor like yard art display project online. I've had it around here for a while, been saving it for just that purpose. It's going to kind of complement the Cat 20. It's on the rock feature on the field right now. This one's not a Cat, but it's about as old as the 20 and it's a lot more wild. So I've already done like a preview walk around video over on the members channel, kind of just giving a sneak peek of that project. If you all are interested, or anybody that's new to the channel, I'll put a link in the description down below. Click on that and see if it's anything you'd be interested in. You get ad-free content, early release content, and behind the scenes extras such as that. Now that we've done stumping for the channel, let's get busy. So I decided to pick up right where we left off. That's with the track frame / undercarriage rebuild. And we need to get these frames rebushed. To be honest with you, I really didn't want to have to do that job. It's not a lot of fun, but they were worn so loose and we had to do something. So if you remember, I think it was last April, I ordered these kind of pre-made bushings. They're close to the finished size that I need. Not quite. I'll have to take them rest way out, but they were on back order at the time and they showed up, I think, late June this last summer. So they've been just in the box waiting ever since. So here's our setup. This is one of the old bushings I pulled from the frame, and this is 3.375 straight size on the outside diameter. In other words, 3 3/8 inches. So these new bushings are pre-made to 3 3/8 on the outside. The problem is when you actually measure them, they're more like 3.378. The reason why there's 0.003 extra meat on the outside of these is because it's standard practice to straight size the bore and then oversize the bushing to account for your press fit. So in the real world, the bore would be 3.375. The bushing is 3.378. There's your press fit. It's already taken care of. You don't have to worry about it. Cat always does things a little differently than everyone else. They straight sized the OD of the bushing, so we're 3.375 here, and they undersized the bore to account for the press fit. So the bore actually measures like 3.371, 72, depending on how I'm holding the gauge. Horseshoes and hand grenades, you know. So we're going to have to take about 0.003 off the outside of these new bushings. Not a huge deal, just kind of a minor, inconvenience. Now to address the inside diameter of the new bushings, we need to fit the pivot shaft, which is 2.937. In other words, 2 15/16 diameter. And once again, Cat, why can't we just go straight 3 inches? But 2 15/16 is our target. These new bushings are pre-finished to 2 7/8. That's as close as I could find to my desired size. So in other words, 2.875. That's about a 62 thousandths difference. Factor in our 3 to 5 thousandths desired running clearance, maximum allowable 15. That puts us 65, 67 out of the inside. We have a 3 thousandths press fit. That's going to crunch in a bit when we force it into the tube. I'll add another 2 thousandths, so we're 69 thousandths. Let's do straight 70 out of the inside. And yes, these shafts are worn a little bit where those old bushings rode. As I stated last time, it's not enough to put us outside of that max allowable 15, so we're not going to bother spray welding and grinding it back to 2 15/16, nor do I want to undersize this and clean it up the whole way. So I think we have a plan. Let's do 70 thousandths out of the insides of those bushings, 3 thousandths off of the outsides, times 4, and we'll be there. So I've got this one indexed in the small benchtop lathe, and these are pretty stout. They're pretty rigid, so only having it in the 3-jaw on this end without being supported over here is not going to cause me any problems. I've got it indexed so we don't have any run out going on, and we're going to do the ID first. So I've got this long boring bar in the tool post, and it's going to be several passes to get to that 70 thousandths because we're extended out so far. The harder the cut you make, the more deflection you're going to get. That throws you off, and small bites. Alright, we're taking it right up to the end right now. Shut the power feed off. We'll just advance it the last little bit by hand so we don't get into the chuck. There we are. And that should have been the final pass. Yeah, these little brass shavings get everywhere, so I threw a piece of cardboard up there and a rag down to protect the ways, because I don't want that grit getting in between things. So clean this out. We'll do our final measurement, but I'm pretty sure the inside is done. So now I'm set up to do the 3/1000 cut on the outside, and we'll just turn on, touch off with the bit. There, we're just starting the contact. I'll advance it. We're only going to do probably 2 on this first pass. It's alright to sneak up on it. Okay, so I just misspoke on that last one. I only did like a 1/1000th pass. You can see we're not quite cleaned up yet. You can see like a lot of the honing grooves from the manufacturing process in there yet that we're still cutting out. So we'll do another 2/1000 here. It should start cleaning up after this. There, we have the outside dressed down right where we need it, and I just finished putting the chamfers on this leading edge here. So this one on the outside is to help it guide into the bore when we press it in. This one I put on the inside, well, because we have, sorry, that magnet was trying to stick to the base there. Because we're putting this on a pivot shaft that already has some wear ridges on it, I don't want to have a square edge on this inside that could catch. I'd like to have like a 45-degree chamfer on there. So we've got this end completely dressed. I probably won't put a chamfer on the outside down here because we only need it on the end that's going in the tube first. So all I need to do is take this out, flip it around so that I can finish machining this little strip right here down to the finished diameter there. You can't get to that, of course, because of the jaws and the chucks. So yeah, we'll flip it over, re-index it. I'll flush that back out. It's going to be tedious. We won't show it, but that's all we have left to do on this one. All right, should be finished inside and out. So remove it from the chuck. Make sure I get the camera. Looks pretty good. Let's test it on the shaft. Make sure it fits. It would sure be embarrassing if it didn't even go on, right? No, it fits really well. Very happy with that. So that makes 1 down and 3 left to go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, it is the next day. Yesterday, I finished sizing all 4 new bushings, and they turned out really well. Very happy with them. A nice finish on them all. So the last thing I have to do is get the grease distribution grooves cut in them to replicate the original here. You can see the grooves inside. I keep saying one of these days I'm going to find a way to do that on the lathe or with the milling machine, something kind of professional, but for now we're just falling back to the old standby. We got the Dremel kind of with that auger bit, or I have a selection of these small end mill bits that also work well. We'll see which one we want to go with once we get into it. And I'll just take a Sharpie and draw kind of where the grooves need to be inside these just to replicate what was going on here. This isn't super critical, but it's good to have them in there. And invariably with a Dremel, you'll be cutting along and then it might catch and want to walk up the side of the bushing, and it's going to look rather ugly, but in this operating environment here, it's not really that critical. It's kind of a situation where more grooves just hold more grease. So we got all the grooves cut in, and they're not as nice looking as the factory ones, but they wind around in the same spots and they'll do the job. So, and you look like that little slip up right on the bottom of the X in there, and then the slips I made on this radius back here. In this application, those aren't mistakes. Those are high capacity areas, right? And another thing I did off camera, I just threaded these grease fittings and tubes back into these elbows here, and I purged all the old dry grease out of these things and then further cleaned the bores. That way when we go to put fresh grease in here, it's not going to shoot all that dried up stuff into our new bushings. One other thing to note, you will see that the distribution grooves come all the way out on this end, but they do not on that end. It just arcs back around and heads back up. Because these are the first generation track frames and the grease enters in the middle of each of those tubes, we will want to make sure to position the bushing so that those exposed groove ends are toward the inside. So from each direction, you want to make sure you have your paths ready to accept grease. So now that we've got that out of the way, we can begin pressing them in. And here's my setup. Starting at the top, this is a 24-inch long piece of 3/4 by 16 grade 8 threaded rod. Nut on it, press disc beneath that, bushing beneath that. The threaded rod goes through the bushing, through the tube, through the 17.5 ton hollow ram, and is secured with a nut on top of the piston into the ram. So as the ram piston moves out, the bushing is forced into the tube. Looks like we're starting in straight so far. We're popping every time it moves, which means we've got a good press going on. Yeah, we're pulling just about 5 tons on the gauge, so nice fit. There we are. From time to time we run out of stroke on the piston on this 17.5 ton ram. It's not a very big ram, so we have to retract it and then run this nut down and pull the rod up through and then start over again. Bushing number 3, I have flipped the track frames over, so we're working on the inside bushing now. I have also switched to a smaller diameter press disc on top. I was using this larger one before because on the outer bushings we just had to go flush with the outside of that flange. These we have to go down inside this counter bore because the grease seal goes inside here. So this disc is about the same diameter as the bushing. So we're just going to have to watch, and when we get the bushing down to the bottom of that bore, we just stop pressing. Bushing number 4, last one. I think we're there. All right, all 4 bushings are in. You can see both of them in that tube and both of them in that tube. So happy with how that went together. I'm going to test that pivot shaft in both of these frames though. We're going to make sure we didn't get too tight, make sure nothing collapsed in too far, make sure our bores are all still in line. We want to test that out first before we load these with rollers and idlers and springs, and it's several hundred pounds, and then we try and fight a fitment issue or something. We're just going to make sure all that's good right now. Yep, we're good there. Just feel a little bit of click in there. Nice fit. Yep, I'm liking it. Good fit on both. So to wrap up, the final thing I did was install the new grease seals on the inboard sides of each track frame. And as always, we'll look at the numbers of those. Cat number is a 3B9369, crosses to the 29223 and the SKF brand that I always get. There are all the dimensions. So the track frames are done. We've refurbished everything that we needed to do on those. And next we're moving into bottom rollers. And the bottom rollers are going to be another area where it's a ridiculous amount of labor. It's a lot of disassembly, a lot of cleaning, and just checking bearings and shims and thrust washers. And the feed might be dead for a while yet because it's going to take me probably a week just to get all that stuff apart and get it cleaned up to the point where I really know what I'm looking at. So the next episode is coming, but it's probably going to be a few days. So as always, everybody, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back again.